Let's talk about the benefits of raw versus cooked vegetables. Is it better to consume your vegetables cooked or raw? Now, to understand that question, we have to first understand what's in a vegetable. Okay, how does it benefit us? You have like folate, vitamin C, then you have beta carotene, which is like a precursor to vitamin A, which doesn't really add up to a lot of active retinol. So if you compare plant based vitamins versus animal based vitamins, the animal based vitamins are much more bioavailable. Like the iron in spinach versus the iron in red meat, huge difference as far as how your body can assimilate it. So if you do this comparison, most of the vitamins in animal products are way more bioavailable. But when we get into vitamin C, folate, beta carotene, those are better sources in plants. You also have vitamin E in plants. So we have vitamins and then we have minerals, especially potassium, magnesium. Magnesium is at the heart of the chlorophyll molecule, and that's the green stuff in the plant. So anything green that you eat has a good amount of magnesium, but we also need that potassium. There's other minerals as well in plants. You have trace minerals and things like that, but it really depends on what that plant is grown on. For example, if you're eating plants that are grown in hydroponic in just like a water solution, they only really put 15 minerals in that solution. Well, there's a lot more than 15 minerals in the soil. But then again, if you're growing your plants on soil that has like no biology or microbes, chances are they're going to be pretty low in minerals. What about amino acids like proteins? There's not a lot of protein or amino acids in these plants. What about fat? There's not a lot of fat in these plants. What about fiber? There is a lot of fiber in vegetables, and this is what we can feed our microbes. And what's interesting about that is that herbivores, animals that consume plants, have more than double the strains of microbes versus the carnivore animals. They have, less than half of the quantity of microbes. So basically, if you eat vegetables and you're eating a wider range of vegetables, which with different fibers, compared to someone who doesn't consume any vegetables, you're going to have more diverse microbiome. And what those microbiome do is they make all sorts of things for you. They make vitamins, they make biotin, they make other B vitamins, they make vitamin K. They actually help you make bile. They help you make B12 available. But here's something that you definitely get that you normally don't get from other types of foods, and that would be phytonutrients, right? So we're talking about antioxidants, plant-based chemicals that have a range of properties from anti-inflammatory to chemicals that help fight cancer. And these phytochemicals are in the thousands, and it's like a mini natural drugstore because they create all sorts of very, very cool effects. A common one would be like lutein or zeaxanthin, which is essential for being able to see in the dark at night and prevent macular degeneration. And these phytonutrients also defend against the complications of chronic disease. Also, they go into your skin and protect you against UV radiation to prevent skin cancer. And this is something you probably have never heard of before. Plants contain a very good amount of probiotics. Okay, that's friendly bacteria, microbes that are within the plant. And there's a lot. Like in 1 cup of a vegetable, you're looking at 100 million microbes. So when you're consuming vegetables, you're getting a lot of probiotics. If they're grown on soil versus something that doesn't have a kind of a medium that enhances the microbiome. But the way that the plant gets the microbes is from the soil. So the roots of the plant actually eat microbes as their primary nutrient source, and they're extracting minerals from it. And then they actually kind of let the microbe go out of the root, but some actually travel up into the plant. And those are the ones that I'm talking about. You probably never looked at these raw vegetables as a source of probiotics, but they are. And this is fairly recently discovered that plants have these microbes. Before that, they thought they were sterile, but they're not. Microbes get destroyed with heat. Okay, so the more you cook the vegetable, the less effect you're going to have as a probiotic. Now, a couple things you need to know about this. An organic vegetable versus conventional, you're going to get about 40% more also diversity too. So, yes, organic is better. And the microbes in the plant create substantial change in your own gut microbiome. And if you're concerned about these microbes surviving the stomach, apparently they do survive in large quantities, probably being protected with the little encapsulated fiber that they kind of are in, and then they kind of get released lower in the digestive tract when your microbiome eats that fiber and breaks them up. Now, that being said, there's a couple little things you need to know. If you are immune compromised, if you have inflammation in your gut, if you have celiac, diverticulitis, any type of inflammatory condition in your gut, you're probably not going to tolerate some of the microbes that are in the vegetable, because those microbes can act to stimulate your immune system. They can act like a natural vaccine. And if here you are having inflammation or leaky gut, it's these microbes and other phytonutrients and the fiber itself can react and create more inflammation. This is why if you consume vegetables and you feel worse, or you get extreme bloating, or you have any type of a major inflammatory condition in your gut, you're probably going to do better on the carnivore for a while. So not everyone can tolerate these plants. But I will say that, things like Salmonella, E. coli, those incidents are very rare. They're not very common. And if a plant is sick or grown on poor soils that are, with low immune system, because if the soil has an immune system and so does the plant, then they're more likely to get these pathogens. But typically these microbes in plants are pretty friendly. There might be a small group of them that are unfriendly or pathogenic, but the other microbes and the phytonutrients, one of their purposes is to help suppress these pathogens and keep that plant's immune system strong. Another side note that's interesting is that fermented vegetables, as far as looking at the microbes in those fermented vegetables like sauerkraut, kefir, things like that, those microbes have a very similar profile to your own gut microbiome, which means that the worse off your digestion is, the more you're going to benefit from maybe fermented vegetables or no vegetables at all, or even more cooked vegetables because you're breaking down things, making them easier to absorb and digest. What about the effect of heat on vitamins? Well, you are going to lower vitamin C and you are going to destroy a lot of the vitamins and enzymes. What about minerals? Well, it depends if you are steaming them versus boiling them. A lot of times when you boil vegetables and you see all the green in the solution, you're basically leaching out chlorophyll and you're leaching out minerals. But if you steam or slightly steam or saute your vegetables, you're not going to lose the mineral part. You might lose some of the vitamins depending on the duration and the heat and the temperature. When we talk about phytonutrients, there's some interesting data on that. It shows that heat, especially when you steam things or saute things, you actually increase the phytonutrient content. You make some of those phytonutrients more available. Now, I looked at the data and I didn't see that it was consistent. There's a lot of mixed studies on this, and it didn't look like there was a massive increase. There might have been an increase in phytonutrients by 18%, and yet other ones showed a decrease by 6%. It's a bit inconsistent because there are so many different phytonutrients and so many other variables, it's hard to tell. But the point is that cooking your vegetables might enhance the phytonutrients by a certain amount. But I don't think that is so significant that you have to really put a lot of attention on it. Now, what does heat do for the microbes in the plant? Well, the heat kills them. Okay. So, based on that information, it's probably going to be best to consume a good portion of your vegetables raw. Okay. But of course, certain things I think you should cook, like Brussels sprouts, maybe broccoli, maybe cauliflower. But as far as your salads go, and let's say bell peppers, and tomatoes and other vegetables, I would keep those raw. Apparently, the worst thing you can do to vegetables as far as nutrients go is fry the vegetables. Now, if you're eating some fried vegetables, that's fine, but just don't think you're getting a lot of nutrients from the fried vegetables or when you do pressure cooking, things like that. Anyway, I wanted to give you some backgrounds on whether you should consume raw versus cooked vegetables and some different viewpoints that you probably haven't heard before. Now, if you have not seen my video on sauerkraut, I think you should check it out. It's actually very, very good. And I put it up right here.